Hi guys, it's Maria. I'm the author of the young adult fantasy novel The Crystal Conjurer, and this is my author channel, my bookish channel. So today I wanted to talk about some reasons why you may have fallen out of love with reading, and also offer some ideas of what you can do about it. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I mentioned earlier that I have been sort of falling out of love with reading. For these past couple of years, I have struggled to find motivation to read. And I've been thinking about the reasons why that may have happened. So I made a list of some reasons why we may have fallen out of love with reading, to sort of find alternatives to get around that and find love and motivation to read again. Because really, the reason I became a writer is because I love stories, and I genuinely always enjoyed reading. I enjoyed books, and ever since I was a little girl, I remember myself wanting to go to the bookstore for my birthday when I was little. I actually purchased a little book about aliens once, and that was really fun. Anyway, that's beside the point. The core of everything, the main reason why I think at least I have fallen out of love with reading, and maybe you have too if you're watching this video and you're feeling sort of the same. It's actually the issue probably is really the books that we have been choosing. We're probably used to going to the same shelves in the bookstore and picking the same kinds of book, because it's what we've always done. For example, me with young adult, I am so used to picking up or only searching for young adult fantasy novels, because that's kind of what I've been reading, and that's kind of mainly what I have written myself in the past. So even though I'm kind of moving on from that as a writer right now, but I'm so used to only searching for young adult titles that I think that I haven't searched elsewhere for what to read, and focusing on that, and maybe I'm just not that interested in young adult anymore. So I keep picking up books that I think I may want to read, but when I start reading them, I feel like I have read them before, or they're too similar to the other type of, maybe I'm kind of bored of reading the same kind of topics over and over, because we have to admit that in young adult sometimes it gets a little bit repetitive. I think even names are getting a little bit repetitive. I don't know, that's just my impression, and I don't mean to point anything out or anything, but I do notice that, at least for me, I started losing interest in young adult. It wasn't grasping my interest anymore, and that may also be the reason for you. You're used to getting the same kinds of books because it's what you've always being interested in, but maybe that's not the case anymore. And what we can do about this is just to, how I'm doing for my reading challenge this year, that I am reading a variety of different genres, so that I can actually see what piques my interest, what doesn't, and start searching more books in those types of genres away from what I've normally always read, and see if I start to sort of find love in it and motivation in it again, in reading again. Another reason why we may not be choosing the right books is because we're letting the trends pick the books for us. Sometimes we come to AuthorTube or BookTube, and we see our favorite people, what they're reading, and we see those books, those shiny new books, and we think yeah, I definitely want to read that, because if X person really likes this book, then I am 100% gonna like that book as well, because we're so alike and I like them so much. And then when it comes to it, in reality, we weren't really that interested in reading those books at all. We just let the trend, and also our love for this particular person, we let them influence us to get it. What we can do about that is to really ask ourselves, do I really want to read that book? Am I really interested in that topic? Or am I just, being influenced by this person that I like so much? Another reason why maybe you're losing your passion for reading could be your ever-growing to-be-read pile. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed because you see so many books in there, and like instead of trying to like pick books from there, you end up like adding more books to it because you just don't know which one to pick from the ever-increasing to-be-read pile. And that totally has happened to me in the past. I have really fallen for that stereotype of the book lover that just keeps piling books that she's not gonna read. I have totally done that. I don't know if it's like the influence of the internet or what, but I definitely did that in the past and recently, and my to-be-read pile has been pretty big. Not as big as some people that I have seen that have like hundreds of books. No, I have like around 40 or so books or 50 books in my to-be-read pile, which is still a lot in my opinion, and that's excessive. And just seeing the amount of books that we have there, it overwhelms us, and just we don't get motivated to start picking books from the to-be-read pile at all. So what we can do about that is to make sure that the next books that we read are all from the TBR, so that we start like reducing the amount of books in there, and like really we have to evaluate, do you really want to read all the books that you have there? Like maybe there are a lot of books in there that you could donate or sell so that your TBR gets a little bit more manageable. And really, like, I'm pretty sure all of us have a bunch of books in the to-be-read pile that we are just not gonna read ever. So that's another thing. We have to really make sure that we really want to read the books that we have there, because it's not worth it to like make ourselves read something that we don't want to read. We don't want to put pressure on something that should be entertaining, that should be fun. Lastly, the last point I want to mention about why you might have fallen out of love with reading, it might just be that you're currently burnt out. And it happens to all of us, honestly, at some point, even with the things that we love the most, the things that we have always loved to do. There may come a moment in time in which we just get burnt out, and when that happens, the best thing that we can do is just to take a break from it and really like prioritize other things for a while. It doesn't mean that we're always gonna be like this. It means that for the time being, we're kind of done with it, and we want to move on to something different, so that we can like fall back in love with what we used to love doing, which is reading in this case. If you really are like burnt out, what you can do about it is just to not force yourself to be in it, you know, to be reading a lot of books, or because there's really no one counting. It's not a race, it's not like a competition. If you're burnt out, just take a break and like really prioritize. Maybe you've been reading for your day job all day, and then when you get home, if you're a writer, you're writing and you're reading your own stuff constantly. You're just not don't have the energy to pick up another book when you've been looking at words all day. So if that's the case, maybe like prioritize your own projects, and when you're finished with your book, then you can like let it rest for a while before editing it, and pick up a book and like read that book and read a few books before you actually get back to your own project. And really taking a break even from things that define us is not it's not a flaw in any way. It's not like a failure in any way. Like, don't guilt yourself for not reading enough, because really there's no such thing as reading enough or reading too little or reading too much. It's just a fun activity that we like to do, and nobody should put pressure on themselves to do something that should be fun. Even if you're a writer and you know that you should be reading, like, don't guilt yourself if you're not reading enough, because at the end of the day, you're only human. You're not a book writing robot. And if you are tired, nobody is like looking to see how many books you're reading and like pointing fingers like you only read 3 books last year. Now nobody's doing that. Like, you're human. Like, give yourself a break and don't guilt yourself for not reading enough or reading too little or whatever. Like, don't put pressure and guilt on something that should be a fun activity. None of this is a competition. So this is it for this video. I hope you liked spending this time with me, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up, and I invite you to subscribe to this channel, and I will see you next week. Bye!